Why do every time we start, I have to shit?
Do you want to go poop? We can time it.
No. We could time it. Do you think you could handle the intro on your own?
Let's do it. Ready?
All right, go.
Set, go. Oh God, I got immediate stage fright. Hello, listeners and watchers. Anywho, Kelsey is going to poop right now. She is, in fact, a laser pooper. You know what, guys? This is our last episode ever. Just kidding. It's our last episode before our live show. Our live show will be happening 2 days after you guys get to hear this episode, which is cool. I'm trying to think of something fun that happened today, and it turns out this is hard alone. Oh, someone's shutting the door. This is a ghost. Who shut the door? Oh, God. Okay, let's think here. What did I do? They finished shutting it. Okay, what did I do this weekend? Oh, my God. I have nothing to talk about on my own. On my own, pretending he's beside... You guys like Les Mis? I do. I sure do. I think it's one of the saddest musicals. It's beautiful. Wow, I was just starting to talk about Les Mis. You're just in time.
Thank God, because you would have gone on that rant and that would have lasted forever. Wow,
I started singing on my
it?
own. I didn't actually time because I freaked out the second you walked away. I was like, what the fuck do I have to talk about? I don't know how people podcast on their own.
Dude, I was thinking about that. I was like, Mark Maron really must, like, he loves and hates himself. Yeah, but like, because you have to like hearing yourself talk to a certain degree. Mm-hmm. But then you also, like, he's so jokingly miserable that he hates being around himself, but he has to do it twice a week, every week. Damn. Anyways, that poop was cut a little short.
You prairie down it?
I did because I didn't shit for like 2.5 days. I was on vacay, and What?
Don't say vacay.
I was on vacay. This sounds like something you would say, first of all.
No.
We're on vacation, and I'm still at one of the, like, the first day I met you, I probably took a shit in front of you. But there's something about, like, the person you're having sex with, it kind of takes a while.
It's weird, though, because they've been closer to your holes.
Way closer to my holes.
I think they should appreciate them for all they do.
It's me. Did
he ever lick your butthole?
Oh, my God. I don't know if he has. Maybe. It's not something I love. I'm not going to shame people that like to get their butthole licked. To me, it's like, I will never not think I'm going to shit on someone's face.
I just watched Sex and the City, and they were talking about butthole licking.
What they have to say about it. And do you agree with Miranda running for governor?
Dude, don't ask me politics on
okay,
this shit.
That's not what this show's about, even though we talk about adult shit.
I don't fucking know.
Oh, also, guys, yes, we lost our microphones this week, so stick with us.
We've been trying, but here's the thing. Oh, yep, sorry, guys. Sorry, squeamish listeners.
Wait, so tell me what they said about butthole licking on Sex and the City.
Oh, right. Miranda was shocked by it, and then I think...
Oh, really, Miranda? You look like someone who needs their butthole licked.
I mean, she softened up to it. But Charlotte was the surprise into butt licking.
If you haven't watched it, because I feel like our generation was the last group of like girls to really
watch it. Yeah,
yeah, it's because our moms and like older sisters maybe watched it. If you're younger and you haven't watched Sex and the City,
it's great.
It's still applicable.
There's a lot of
it's not a little tiny.
There's a couple problematic things, just like anything
90s and 80s
I feel like stuff last week that I said is probably problematic this week. Like, we're moving forward, which is great.
You're an adult and we fuck up so that they don't have to.
Yeah.
Our show is this week. By the time
I talked about that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we already covered it.
Oh, okay, cool.
No, we
can't wait. We're so excited. I just can't believe by the time this comes out, we will be in Philly. Or Thursday morning, we'll be in Philly.
Oh my God, our flight is... Our flight is so early.
Are we sitting next to each other?
I don't know. We have to check.
I can't do airplanes not sitting next to my friends.
Well, luckily I'm
that person
way pushier than I am, because I'll just sit there and be like, it's okay. In fact, I'll sit on the wing.
Do you know what? Because I'm so afraid of planes, I do become very timid on airplanes. I become like very sweet and like... because I'm so afraid.
I'm actually really excited to travel with you.
I'm excited too. I think you could tell a lot about a person by how they travel.
Way more calm when I'm traveling.
I am super chill because I'm on Valium.
Valium?
Valium.
It's a Valium.
It's a Valium.
Here's the thing is that on the flight back, it's just you and me, and we have a 2-hour layover.
Where?
In Chicago.
Oh, hell yeah, we're getting Garrett's popcorn.
Yeah, Garrett's popcorn and drunk.
Oh no, I know exactly why you were making that face. We have a 2-hour layover together in Chicago. We're gonna miss that. We're gonna miss that second
that's
part
what
of the
saying.
We're gonna end up at a bar.
We're gonna talk to people. There's gonna be a possible hookup.
Oh fuck, guys! If you're coming to the show, make sure if you see us at an airport this weekend,
buy us shots,
and then make sure we get on the plane.
Do you ever have them? Did you ever have I actually make out really well at airports.
You make out?
I don't actually make out, but here's the thing. Once I was in an airport in Philly, and I was drinking, and this guy started talking to me. He was older, but he was dressed really nice, and I was like, I'll talk to you, whatever. And he's like, her beer's on me. Have another one.
Oh no!
So I'm there just getting drunk, talking to this guy. He's like a traveling doctor or something like that. He invented some sort of pharmaceutical thing.
So made up.
So he travels
doctor.
and gives speeches about this thing or whatever.
Okay, I believe it.
And at the time, I was like, I do Postmates. Cool. But then he was like, He's like, we don't have to go back to the flight yet. I'm like, I do. He's like, well, I'm in first class. And I was like, and he gave me his card and everything. And I was like, bitch, move me up to first class. But I didn't actually ask that. But yeah, he gave me his card and he said to call him when I got back to LA.
Did you call him?
What do you think?
Of course not. I made the DJ buy us first class yesterday. I made him
on your way back here?
Yeah, I made him do it because Valium and love. And let me tell you, it was the worst first class meal I'd ever had in my life. This is a champagne problem. I understand that. But let me just tell you what they gave us.
Get ready to not relate to the next minute and a half.
You're literally paying for amenities essentially. You're paying for a better seat, better food, better experience, right?
Potentially sitting next to
someone gorge, your future husband or wife. Is that what you were gonna say?
I was gonna say Tara Reid.
Oh.
She was on the first class flight when Cantor and I came back from
Tara Reid flies first class.
Virgin Airlines.
Yeah, I was on Virgin.
Hell
yeah, Alaskan. Dude. Long story. This food. They gave us walnuts, pita bread, dried chicken. That was it.
Oh no.
It was
not Virgin.
It was it wasn't even heated up. It looked like I could see the lady in the back opening up the peanut packets and dumping it on the plates. And I was just like, oh man, I hope that's not our food. Because I was very drunk and very tired. And all
very
I wanted,
high on Valium.
Yeah, very high on Valium.
Huh.
That's my unrelatable experience from this weekend. Other than not being able to...
double protein.
It was called the protein plate. And I was like, oh no, I already have to shit because I haven't shit in 2 days. But we should talk about our contest.
Quick question. You could cut this if you want. Does the DJ hate me now?
Why would the DJ hate you?
Because I blew up his spot for messaging me. Kelsey and I got in a fight.
Oh my god, we got in our first real fight.
We've gotten in a fight before, but this was a real big one.
Yeah, this one was beyond. This was
it was screaming match fight.
Well, and I hate confrontation. I cry when I get mad. I've never been someone that knows how to fight. And I kept saying to Kate, I'm like, I don't know how to fight. And you're like, you're doing fine. And I was like, well, I don't want to be good at fighting. But my fucking boyfriend, you piece of fucking asshole over here, I know you're listening, in the middle of Kate and I's fight, nobody else's business, fucking Instagram messaged her, and I don't even know what he said. He said something like, I hate that you guys are fighting. If you could... He said beefing. I was so mad. And messaged her and was like, if you want to talk, here's my number. And while that was good intention, it was absolutely so out of place. And even though it was I get now why he did it, and sure, maybe one day I'll thank him. But it was just it was someone putting their ladle in your soup, when stirring it when it's not your soup to drink.
Maybe, but then
he doesn't hate you, by the way. If anything, he would have thought you hated him probably for poking holes in issues.
I immediately in my fight, I was like, and I would appreciate it if your fucking boyfriend didn't reach out to me on Instagram.
And I was like, what?
And so then I thought that maybe he was like, all right, bitch. I was trying to help.
No, I
we'll
was.
See. We have to fly together.
I was. See, what happened was I was walking back and forth behind this wall, so he was on the other side of the wall, and he could like hear me yelling, and he was like, "I wasn't gonna go over there and bother you." But as soon as he said that, he said my head just goes out of the side of the wall and was like, "What? You ain't still gonna?" It was like I was so scared. I was like, "Good, you should have been." But we're fine now, and friendships have up and downs.
We have fights, man.
Yeah, so you gotta work through them. Mm-hmm. I think as someone who like always didn't have female friendships, like close ones, that's why I just shut down and I go, well, then fuck it, we don't even need to do the podcast, we don't even need to be friends, I'd rather just not do anything at all, and I'm easy to cut it out of my life because I don't know how to like sit and talk about feelings.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to talk about stuff when you're like, oh, I didn't think I did this thing or whatever. I don't know. Fights are hard, but they're necessary. So I just wanted to make sure, because it might be an uncomfortable fucking travel arrangement with all of us at the airport.
Oh my God, no, he doesn't give a fuck. Okay. He was genuinely worried. I mean, because a lot of people commented on last week's episode being like, why is Kate being passive aggressive? Why is she yelling at Kelsey?
Really?
And I didn't think of anything of it when I was editing it. But I think people thought that I was talking about something personal and you were being like, not sensitive. I don't know. And I didn't
bullshit.
see it.
I was being sensitive, and I was steering the conversation back to you. I
don't care. I talk about myself too much. I'm constantly worried.
I want to see those comments.
They're on youtube.com/asis.
Also, fuck you guys.
Yeah, it's none of your goddamn business if we're having a fight.
Passive aggressive. Have you listened to any of the other 20 fucking episodes? I'm pretty understanding. Sorry, I had a fucking off day.
We all have off days. We should talk about Kate, our March craziness winner.
Yeah.
It was our first contest.
Yeah.
Ever.
Ever.
We want to read the 3 finalists from the last 3 weeks. We've done our hashtag war. And if you guys like this, if this was a fun activity, it was sure fun for us to read.
Yeah.
If you guys liked this and would like us to have another contest, let us know.
Let us know.
Okay, so week 1, we had @Cheyenne_Eli, had hashtag shitfacts. Hers was most toilets flush in E flat.
A classic.
So funny.
Week 2, informative. Week 2, we had stupid history. @tall_foot. King George III planted beef to try and grow a beef tree.
I thought for sure that was it. Then we had week 3. Rachel Kirk_ had talk about when you learn during your first Brazilian wax that it's also your waxer's first Brazilian wax.
And you all voted.
Oh,
the results are in.
We had, how many votes did we have? Over 1,000 votes.
Wow.
We're fucking popular.
Wow. 1,253.
In a commendable 3rd place, we had shit facts with most toilets flush and E flat. And ladies and gentlemen, in 2nd place, we had stupid history,
which means talk about
Rachel Kirk
This is fucking MIA.
Boys say. Sorry about that, but Rachel, you won. But that was really fun. Again, if you liked it. And ladies and gentlemen, our very first guest of the day and only guest of the day.
Only guest of today.
Just walked in. Should we bring her in?
Yeah, let's fucking do it.
Let's fucking do it. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a feminist, activist, artist. She's like a writer of fucking Teen Vogue. She's our dear friend who makes all those amazing shirts. Kid Bell, a.k.a. Whitney Bell. Is it Kid Bell your street name?
Basically, yeah. It was like my nickname growing up.
Oh, that's right. You told me this. She makes all these incredible tees that you guys are always tweeting at us about, asking like, where did you get this, like screenshotting it. And you also made my first merch.
Yes!
Dairy Queen merch. Oh, hi. And this is her dog, Nugget.
This is Nugget, Lil Nug.
We're so excited to have you on because I feel like we always talk about you or like reference you somehow over the last...
Tan really liked your shirt.
Did you guys get in contact?
Tan and I have been messaging. Thank you so much for that. This is like making my dreams come true. I emailed all the girls that like work for me, and I was like, "We're gifting a tan," and they all just like had collective meltdowns. What do you run around?
Go nuts.
He's just gonna try to come back up on my lap.
He's a little baby.
He'll go explore.
Oh my god, he's so goofy.
I know, he's so
He's
weird.
the perfect dog.
Little trash dog.
He is a trash dog.
I
Where did you get him?
know. This girl that I'm friends with from the internet, but we'd like never met.
Oh, that sounds not sketchy. I have a little puppy for you. His name is Nugget. What? Is this a drug deal?
That would be funny if you thought you were getting weed and then you just ended up getting a dog and you're like, okay.
Well, I named him that because of weed. So
Dog.
we actually sell little Nug merch with like weed, like a weed lighter and a grinder and stuff.
Your stuff is so cool. Like, I'm sure if you've been watching the podcast, you've obviously heard about her stuff, but if you haven't checked it out, so you can go to Shop Kid Bell, right?
Yeah, shop.kidbell on Instagram or just kidbell.com, but there's 2 Ds.
Because your merch is so like unique. It's what do you call it? Like unapologetic for the no filter.
It's like unapologetic empowerment.
Yes,
basically.
it's really like weirdly activist without being activist because it's just like who you are.
Yeah, and we donate a ton to charity. We work with like lots of different like influencers like Kelsey and artists to try to make like really unique stuff and a lot of like retro throwback stuff like the like Dare shirt that I
Yeah, you've seen her stuff. It's that shirt you love that says cunt right across it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I need to get that shirt. I love the cunt shirt. I need to get the let boys be feminine and don't be a dick shirts too. I just keep forgetting.
You guys need all the things.
I need to order all of them.
You also are a writer. You mentioned you contributed to Teen Vogue.
So I write for Teen Vogue like pretty regularly. I write for Playboy. I've written for HuffPost and Cosmo and Elle, like kind of all over the place.
And your fucking Instagram is my favorite because this motherfucker is so like. You have the biggest balls of anyone I know. She will straight up be like live Instagram updating a first date she's on, talking about how much a douchebag the guy is and being like taking polls on if she should see him again or like still let him eat her pussy or like should I just let him go home? It's the most entertaining. Like people think
I'll like go in
I'm
the bathroom and do it.
Yeah, like people think I'm no filter, but you truly like you live your life based on like complete like Instagram polls.
I've definitely had guys like I've come back from the bathroom and like they've already like known me from social media or whatever. Like I disconnect my social media from like my dating profile, so like people don't instinctually know, but that's a lot of times they do anyways. And they'll be like, "Hey, I just saw that you posted a video saying that I was an asshole in the bathroom."
And then you'll follow that video up with, "So the guy saw my Instagram. Do you think I should?" And it's like watching the best kind of reality television.
None of them have ever like walked out though. They've always just been like they've either tried to redeem themselves.
Oh, that's good.
You know, which is good, or be like, "Well, what did I do?" And I was like, "Oh, well, like you said, reverse racism was
a thing.
Yeah. So I think you're a dick. Let's talk about it."
Yeah. So like, how do you? I mean, is dating when you are going out and you're dating? Is that like how do you not talk about your job because your job is such?
Oh, I do. I mean, it's the only thing. That's like, okay, so I haven't actually gone on a date in like 4 months, which means I also haven't gotten laid in 4 months.
Which is not great. One connected to the other.
But that's a huge part of it is because my job is so political and my job is so activist based and I do so much work like about like violence against females and rape culture and stuff and so that's like not super fun date topics. And guys have a tendency to get kind of like, I hate being like, oh, guys are intimidated, but like a lot of times they really are. Yeah. And I'm really sick of doing it. Like, here's the intro to me, and you're going to ask me the exact same 57 million questions. You're going to expect me to teach you about feminism. Right. And, like, I'm not here to be your teacher. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to go on a date, and, like, please stop asking me.
And you also, we should mention, I think we maybe talked about it on the pod in the early weeks. You had this incredible, what would you call it, art show?
Yeah.
Kind of exhibition called the Dick Pic Show?
Yeah, I didn't ask for this, a lifetime of dick pics.
Did you come or who went? Freddie and I went.
Jazz.
Yeah. You also know a lot of BuzzFeeders.
I wanted to go. I wasn't invited.
I literally Instagrammed her the day of and was like, "Hey, I want to come to your show."
You actually Instagrammed me. You're like, "I hate doing this, but I'm going to use that little blue check to my advantage." Like, I didn't know you yet. I was like, "I don't know who those girls, but you can definitely
come. I was like, I love dicks, love pics. Don't love them together unless they're consensual, but can I come to your show? Tell us about what that was and how you were inspired to do something like that, because I feel like it needs to be a traveling art exhibition.
Yeah, so that was actually the third one we've done. We've been to 3 cities already. And so it's 200. I like your sound effects.
Thank you. That's like Owen Wilson.
It's 200 unsolicited dick pics and the like often really aggressive and threatening messages that like come with that stuff, which like all you ladies know about.
Yep.
And set up inside like a full gallery space. It's like an entire woman's home. So bedroom, bathroom, living room, kitchen, everything. But the walls are just lined with like hundreds of dicks and like terrible messages like calling you an evil cunt.
Yeah.
And then there to basically show how like invasive digital harassment is. And then there's a full day of like educational panels, and we've had people like Shirley Manson and Jasmine was on a panel, and a bunch of other incredible people, and a whole day of sex ed workshops.
Yes.
A bar, DJs, a pop-up shop from my store.
Yes.
It's basically like a whole little traveling feminist festival of sorts.
There's also a wall of dicks, like a wall of hanging dildos.
That's the photo booth.
Yeah, that's what I got jealous of.
I was like, I wanted to be surrounded by dicks.
I had 2 interns literally hanging up dildos for, I kid you not, like 12 hours in the middle of the night at different lengths.
You own this company. This is you are like when you say you have interns, so you have a whole staff of people.
I have a whole staff,
and they're all like women or queer people,
full-time employees and stuff, and everyone is like queer. It's all women. I'm not opposed to hiring other folks. I just
if you want to surround yourself by people like you get shit done.
And you know, like when you're talking about dick pics and you're talking about feminism and you're talking about rape culture and you're talking about white privilege all day, you want people who really share those values.
That's what I was going to ask you about, is how do you, being white, how do you like not lean into white feminism? Because I feel like I've seen a lot of people, there's like a weird wave. It's great, but there's like a trend now of being like a feminist, but also, and which is, again, great. It all needs to happen. But it's a lot of times not inclusive, and like black women and have been saying stuff for years.
Forever.
And
I mean, feminism was founded by white women, and it has always been centering the voices of white women, and a lot of people of color feel like the movement is just not for them, and that's like completely accurate most of the time. And not all white women who are feminists are white feminists, but white women who only center their own voices, white women who only tell their own stories, who think that they are at the bottom of the oppression barrel just because they're women, that's white feminism. And I think I try to combat that all the time. I talk about race constantly. I talk about my privilege constantly. And privilege isn't a bad thing. I just have inherent privilege based on like who I was born to and where I was born. And I talk about the fact that I don't know everything, and you need to defer to women of color, to trans women who know more about oppression, who can teach you things. And when they tell you you're maybe doing something wrong or you're saying something insensitive, even if you think you're like the wokest girl at the party, you need to take a step back and recognize that like you're probably not right because you don't know. Like when a man is like trying to explain feminism to you, and you want to be like, hush.
Yeah.
That's what we can sound like to women of color sometimes.
I think Kate said something wonderful once on the podcast where she was talking about if your feminism isn't intersectional, you're on the wrong side of the right movement. Yeah. And I think people, for some reason, especially white women, obviously, and white men, have an issue with admitting privilege is an okay thing to have.
Or they'll come up, I've heard so many people be like, well, I mean, I wasn't raised rich. It's like, that is not even what we're talking about.
It definitely plays like a part.
You'd be like, I've had ramen noodles before. It's like, what?
Yeah,
dude,
like I've struggled. And all of a sudden, if you admit that you have privilege, that they're afraid that is admitting something like they're racist or they have racist tendencies or their family is racist.
Right.
And people are afraid to admit that it's a recognition. It's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. You can't control your privilege. And a lot of what I find is a lot of times people are like, but I worked really hard for what I have, or like, but all my accomplishments are my own. And I'm like, I want to be like, look, privilege doesn't mean you haven't worked hard or that your accomplishments aren't yours. It just means that like certain aspects of your life have been intrinsically easier just based on what you look like or based on like what socioeconomic bracket you were born into. Yeah. You start on third base, but you think you're starting like at first. And it's just, it's not a horrible thing. You just have to acknowledge it and then try to use your privilege to like amplify the voices of people who don't have as much privilege.
It's so interesting too, because I feel like a lot of times talking about it, I've noticed with people who are like, well, I'm not racist or I'm not this or whatever. I think I'm going to get shit for this, but I think if you're white and you are raised white in a predominantly white area, you are racist.
I say this shit all the time and I get yelled at constantly.
I know, and it's not, see, it doesn't mean, someone was just talking about it the other day, I think it was a stand-up or something like that, but about how, like, any sort of preconceived idea of what another culture is and a judgment based off of that is racist. It doesn't necessarily mean, like, I'm not like, like outward violent racism is racism, but also there's small parts.
There are levels.
Yeah.
And like, because we were raised with this skin color or whatever our privileges in that specific arena, like, yeah, I'm going to think racist things sometimes. I might say something racist sometimes. That doesn't mean that I'm like an inherently terrible racist human being. It just means that like, I was raised with this certain lens of the world, and I have to sit in that and unlearn this behavior.
It's a lot of unlearning.
And I think that's like what I've learned is such a hard thing for people to be like, oh, I've been wrong, or oh, like, I know a lot of times, like, I remember trying to explain to my dad why locker room talk isn't just locker room talk. And I think that sometimes, like, the weight of reality for people who hadn't really felt that reality is too much.
Yeah, it's
so much that you're like, this
hole.
can't possibly be true.
Yeah.
No, you have to be making this up because it just doesn't compute. It's like, how could someone be suffering this much without us knowing? And that's
I think a lot of people they're saying, well, it's dying out. Like, that generation's going to be gone soon. But what they don't realize is, like, we live in a bubble here in these metropolis cities where we are, in echo chambers all day long. But that these people have children who are still very much ingrained and in the school systems and in the church systems.
I mean, it's not even just that. Like, yes, that might be like the more overt, like right-wing version of racism or transphobia or homophobia. But like even within our liberal communities, like everywhere. This is pervasive. We live in an inherently racist country. It was founded on racism. That's not going to go away in a generation. That's not how it works.
It blows my mind still. Like, even now, I think I've become a little bit more cognizant of it because it's been happening my whole life. But even in media, even in, like, Hollywood, that's supposed to be this, like, woke, groundbreaking. We're, like, letting women do things now. Yay. We're letting, like, people of color play people of color in their own stories. Like, yay, we're doing something right here. Yet they still will have, like, a very... it's all stereotypes still.
It's like, okay, we got Black Panther, but it's also like, let's take a step back and look at that. Black Panther was created by white producers with a white production like company behind it, and like, yes, they were. I kind of feel like they were like given Black Panther. It was just like, okay, well, here, we'll give you like your black movie.
Michael B. Jordan has a production company.
I know. But then it's like you don't.
It's where the funding goes.
It's where the funding comes from. It's where the studio execs, and it's all of that. And then it's like, you don't, there's no like Asian movie. And also it's like, never has there been a white movie where you're like, oh, well, that's just for white folks.
Right. Like they have
like everyone's expected to adhere or to like listen to the stories of white people and like maybe will deign to go watch the black movie.
Yeah.
But it doesn't go both ways.
It is alarming to think about how many white men are profiting off of Black Panther. So, okay, this is all a very important conversation, and what I think we also need to talk about, we have a fan question that is also an important subject, and I figured we would save it for you.
A lot more lighthearted.
It's a little more lighthearted, but still very important because this is not the first email I've gotten like this.
I just can't wait to hear all of the comments based off of what we just said. I'm like so excited for it.
Do you know what I'm
Welcome to my entire life is like trying to not look at the comments. I get so much shit every single day.
If you do want to learn from someone without costing them emotional labor about how to deal with trolls, you guys really should go look at Whitney's Instagram because she handles it. I think you fucking do it way more than you have to and should have to.
I've actually been like lifting me out of that a bit.
You do it really well.
And I have really been like, you need to step out.
Well, I think you handle it really well, and you do it in a very good way that I don't know how it taxes you emotionally, but I know at least from someone who's still learning how to deal with this stuff, even though I've been on the internet for like over 10 years. You do a really good job. But the title of this episode, I think, is going to be called "Do You Have an Ugly Vagina?" Our email this week is titled Ugly Labia. Hello, ladies. Love the podcast. I am 19 and very insecure about my vulva, especially my big, saggish labia, lips, and color. I am a virgin, but my vulva puts me off having casual sex. Previous times with guys, I would lie I was on my period or keep it covered with my pants. Overall, rushing anything sexual, which sucks. I've seen two of my friends, both seen their vaginas. Both are cute and fucking any vulvas, and when I bring up the subject of vagina types, they don't really care for it. So what should I do? What's your take on vulva types, and what do your guy friends say? Another thing is, since I'm young, the guys I go with are usually inexperienced, meaning they have seen less pussy, causing me to be more self-conscious. Should I wait till I'm in a relationship, which I don't want at the moment, or just have sex with the guy, and if he complains, boot him in, hope he doesn't tell others about my different genitals? Sad face. P.S. Seeing the labia library offered no comfort, as I know guys are dicks and talk about shit behind my backs. Thanks, XXX. First of all,
which got a lot of labia. Thoughts.
Yeah. Which one's the labia?
Yeah. Is this a question? Well, there's your labia minora and your labia majora. And so like the big lips are the majora, and then the labia minora are the inner lips.
I've pulled up a picture of the vagine.
Why is that so small?
So that's your labia majora, and that's your labia minora.
Bigger. Please zoom in.
I'm trying to find it. There we go. That's a better. What?
What is that?
It's probably like
that's
HPV
like
or herpes
that's
or
like
infection.
HPV.
Yeah, we just Googled vagina on Google, so that's what we got. So it's usually referred to as the lips.
Yes.
And I do think we live in a culture. First of all, thank you for writing that in, because this is not the only email I've gotten asking about this subject. And I'm glad Whitney's here to talk about it a little bit more, just because
I'm excited
most of your merch has vaginas on it.
It's a lot of vagina stuff.
I do think we live in a culture in America specifically where our porn stars can only have one certain looking type of vagina, which is where men are learning about sex, and
it's where a lot of girls are too, unfortunately.
No, you're right. And so when a woman watches porn and then looks down and sees her vagina or her boobs or her body or her hair or whatever, but specifically her vagina doesn't look like what they see in porn, all of a sudden it's not desirable. And I just want to say, a vagina is skin. And anyone is fucking lucky to be around a vagina in the first place.
If they want to be there.
If they want to be there, and if you want them to be there. There's no wrong vagina. Unless, like, it's hurting, then you should go see a doctor. But there's no way to have a wrong looking vagina.
I like in this diagram, there's just the one little dot, and it says anus, and it just puts...
But also buttholes. All buttholes look different, too.
They do. And also, I have, like, a larger labia, and I used to, like, freak out the way that this girl is, especially when she said she was, like, 19. I also, like, was so self-conscious about it, and I'd only had sex a couple times, and I was just like, I don't want to show anyone this. And then as I, like, sort of got a little bit older and started, like, being more sexually active and being more confident and just being like, all right, this is my fucking vagina, deal with it. Guys are so into it. They just want to be near a vagina.
And the more
guys and if they do care, if there is some guy who's like, ugh, you don't want to be with that guy
around that guy
anyway.
But I understand,
too. Wouldn't longer ones be, like, a little bit more, like...
Mine's more sensitive because of it, and like...
But, like, so, like...
It doesn't always have feeling in it.
No, but I mean, even for, like...
For guy.
If you are choosing to have sex with a guy, and then if it was just like this and tight, right, and then this is the bigger labia, then it's just sort of an extra little ooh, hey.
It could be. Listen, it also can change. Like, the shape of your vagina can change. I remember when I was younger, I had what they call an innie vagina, and then I swear to God, I think this is what it was. I would always masturbate the same way with my left leg bent up a little bit, so a lot of the pressure was on the right side. So then eventually, as I started to get older, my right side of my vagina got bigger than my left side. So I got a lopsided ass vagina. And guess what? Not once, not never has someone gone down on me and gone, huh.
Guys don't
want to do this anymore.
As soon as they're about to, like, get into your vagina, they're not like, you know what? Let me change my mind. And again, if they do, they're horrible.
Yeah.
But it's also just like, that's not the thing that anyone's thinking about, like, when they're about to have sex with you.
Exactly.
Like,
they might think about it later, like, right? Like, I've had sex with people then, like, later been like, oh, wow, they're, dick tilted a certain way.
Everyone's genitals have, like, a weird thing. Like, genitals inherently are not just this, like, glorious, perfect thing.
Yeah, and it's Kate's perfect. But
mine's just one diamond.
It's also, and it's a perfect, it's like in a glass case.
It's in a glass case and nobody can get in there, not even
They
me.
need a key. But I think I do understand where the insecurity comes from because we are conditioned to think that a vagina should only look one way, and that where can we see other vaginas like ours? Because when you're
to
young,
Club Clitoris on Instagram.
Club Clitoris.
I think that's what it's called. Yeah. Club Clitoris Club? Club Clitoris? I think that's what it is.
How do you spell clitoris?
Like that. Not like that.
Instagram.
It's this art Instagram, and this girl takes submissions. Yeah, this is it. She takes submissions.
Look how different all these vaginas look.
Oh no, this is it.
Look
She's
at
a
how
vagina on her
different.
arm.
So
Like,
many
is that
vaginas,
a
and
leg
she
or an
takes
arm?
submissions from people. Like you can send her photos of your vagina, and then she will sketch them and draw them. And it's every kind of vagina with every kind of body hair and every kind of labia and every skin color. She does trans folks. Like it's amazing, and it really helped me with a lot of my like sort of vagina insecurities. And she makes them all look really beautiful.
I will say there have been times where like I've swapped photos with a lover or two of myself, and I've taken a picture and just gone like, oh god, that does not look good. Like I've spent time with my leg up on the sink a certain way, or an angle, or a lighting, or switching an outfit because my pussy looked ugly and I didn't like it, and I got insecure and then ended up not sending it because I just thought, well, it looks ugly. But here's the thing, I think dicks and vaginas kind of are ugly. They just are funky
That's what
looking.
I'm saying. Genitals are just like by nature like kind of weird.
Kind of a weird thing. Like it's not
like I like them, but I'm also like you don't like from a completely objective aesthetic perspective. It's like not the best.
Yeah, and I think too, like whenever I've seen other like women's vaginas who have vaginas, it's cool to see one that's not like mine. Mm-hmm. Like I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know a vagina could do that or look this way. Kate, you look very uncomfortable.
She does.
I'm just trying to figure out. Like, I wonder if it's just after you get, like, particularly sexually active that's when you're like, oh, I can appreciate this picture of this genitalia. But for me, I would just prefer, like, a couple words of affirmation. That would turn me on, like, hey, I think you're really great.
Like your pussy's really great?
Like your pussy's great, or...
Pussy, personality, stuff like that, I would just be really into. But that's just right now, It's still
yeah, I mean,
you're both like...
No,
not for me.
I get it. It definitely took a long time to be comfortable with like the aesthetic of it, and like, hello, I just got lasered, so like obviously, thank you, Nugget. Obviously, like I still have some things I want to do, but with my body in general, that would make me feel better. But it's never for someone else, which I would like totally steer away from anyone who's ever like thought about doing the vaginoplasty because it's so
they call it the Barbie.
No.
Yeah, it's called the Barbie. And by the way, Barbie doesn't have genitals, so we shouldn't be calling surgery.
Ken has a bulge.
and it's specifically
literally insane.
It's specific for aesthetic purposes. It has nothing to do with like the medical side of it. So
it can actually like
so
really desensitize
dangerous.
you. Like it can make sex worse for you.
It can make you not be your clit work.
What is vaginoplasty?
It's when they go in and
they cut it off to make it look like a little porn star baby tiny vagina.
Like a baby vagina.
Yeah. And wait, if you want to I thought about this the other day, man. If you want to fuck someone who wants you to look younger,
you should
don't fuck that person.
That's a little
don't fuck.
sketchy.
You should want it. Okay, the guys as you get older, they should want labias that touch the floor.
Or not.
They should want
labias don't do that.
Or they should at least appreciate, be like, that vagina is aged. That vagina
like
is not young. Yeah. That is not a young vagina. But the thing is,
a lot of young girls do still have a vagina like that.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's not. A lot of people are like, oh, well, like that's a loose vagina, or like, oh, she must have had sex with a lot of people, or oh, she's older.
Some people are virgins who literally don't have tight
how
muscles.
Vaginas work.
Yeah.
It's not even about your muscles. It's just about like how much skin you have there. It's like and then obviously other things can contribute to it, but you can just have that labia, and I did, and I used to like fully shaved, like full Brazilian, like everything when I was younger. And I felt so uncomfortable and like so naked. And some women love being totally shaved. I just didn't. And then when I finally, like when I got a little bit older and got more comfortable and I started not shaving, like I, clean up the sides and like the bottom, but like there's definitely a bush there. Yeah. And I finally was like, oh, this is what my vagina looks like. And everyone can have like what their vagina looks like. And like, you just need to find your niche.
That's exactly what I was going to say was I think step one is that we all need to maybe become a little bit more comfortable with our own vaginas. Like, when you're a kid, I for sure sat in front of a mirror and just stared at it for like an hour being like, well, what does this do? What does this do? What if I push this? What if I touch this? And I think if you're at an age where like sex is happening for the first time or you're kind of discovering your sexuality, I think it would do everybody a little bit of good to first get really comfortable with and close. You don't have to love it. You don't have to love every part of your body, but I think especially if you've got a vagina, get up close with it, touch it, see what things do.
And I definitely think though that there are people, so I am uncomfortable.
Yeah, you can tell.
And if you've been through some sort of trauma when you were younger, it might be hard for you to look at your vagina and be like, this is mine, I want to pay a lot of attention to it. So there's also no rush.
No.
I just want to say that in case like it's just different for everybody. I feel like feminism doesn't necessarily mean I adore my vagina.
No, I don't
think
think
it just
you
means
have to.
I have this relationship with this right
Again,
now.
this is my vagina. Like, this is what our relationship, this is what it looks like.
Because I remember, like, really not wanting to, like, I avoided it. Like, I wouldn't even clean it, really, which is pretty, like, bad.
That's like
bad.
super common with women, too, though, because we're not taught to be sexual with ourselves. Like, boys are taught about masturbation, the fact that they need to do it, they need to have this release. They're taught that they can look at porn. They're taught like all of these things are okay, but masturbation for girls or like being in touch with your sexuality or knowing what you like or what you don't like is not a thing we're taught. We're only taught to like how to get out of sex, how to avoid it, how to stay safe. That's what girls are taught about sex.
Yeah, that's all I was,
And if you want to see like some more diverse vaginas in porn and you want to see some more diverse bodies in porn, check out Erica Lust.
She was on here. I went to Barcelona and we interviewed her.
I just went to her screen.
I saw this weekend.
And I'm writing about her for Teen Vogue.
Isn't she the fucking best?
She's the fucking best.
She's so cool. Everyone who
she's the
listened to that episode was like, who is this wonderful woman?
She's amazing.
And her work is, like you said, like really diverse, really important. I was thinking while you were talking about like the trauma thing too, like I didn't have any childhood sexual trauma that I'm aware of, but I definitely still, even to this day, feel really uncomfortable with a guy going down on me and I like can't make eye contact with them. Like I don't know how to look
super normal
them in the eyes while they're down, even though I'm the most like, I fucking love my pussy and I think everyone should experience it once in their lifetime. I still have a really hard time letting someone else be that physically close to it. Like intimate emotionally, I have no problem with that, but like the physical closeness of like,
I have a
oh
question.
my god, now they're seeing like my
Do you
butthole.
feel differently when a girl goes down on you than when a guy goes down on you?
1,000%. I have never once felt insecure when a woman goes down on me. What is that?
Because we're taught that like we're supposed to be like clean and neat and perfect for men. Like we're taught that like their sexual satisfaction is supposed to come before our sexual satisfaction. We're taught that like our vaginas are like smelly and like
a vagina should smell.
It should. If it doesn't smell, then like there is a problem.
Yeah.
Like go to the doctor.
Go to the doctor. The active bacteria is yeast. That's a thing.
But that's so normal, and I think it's really interesting that with girls you don't have that same hang up.
Because I just know that they're cooler about it.
Because they also have a vagina.
Yeah.
But like I don't know any dudes that are like, yeah, I'm just like really self-conscious when a girl wants to suck my dick. Like I don't even want her to go there. Like that is.
And I'm
I don't
sure
want to say no men feel that way.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are, but the prolificity with which that happens is not equal to that of women.
And that's not saying that like dudes don't feel insecure because they have the pressures about having a certain type of dick that looks a certain type of way, but it does definitely feel like it skews towards the women having the pressure to aesthetically be like confident and also have like a pretty pussy and also like dress well and also be skinny and also
be the cool girl and eat 1,000 cheeseburgers but weigh 100 pounds.
Yeah, I think there's also something to be said about how important it is to get comfortable with this sort of stuff so that we know that it actually doesn't matter what your genitals are. Not necessarily like, you know, what they look like. So if my labia or whatever it is bulbous or whatever, I don't know, man.
I love that
whatever. There could be another woman who doesn't have a vagina. You know what I mean? And it's just about the person and what their pleasure is. It doesn't matter aesthetically. I know that can be really frustrating and wanting to have certain things and whatever. I totally understand that, but I also think that realistically, especially now moving forward, and people being more vocal and understanding about trans and non-binary and everything, I feel like that is something that it just means that this person has these. This is what turns this person on. This is what, if you're in a sexual thing with in a sexual relationship with this human being, you just, here's what I have, here's what I want. Let's do this.
Seeing people as people and not as genitalia.
Just because your genitals are not the most important part about you, and if someone wants to have sex with you, they're having sex with whatever is there.
And they're having sex with you as a person. Atomically, maybe yes, penis, vagina. We all know that's not how people have sex. That's not what is considered the only way to have sex anymore. And this is a time. Going back to the girl asking the question, I understand that 19 is a very scary time because you are kind of figuring out your sexuality, your hormones are going crazy off the wall, and you can feel really insecure about looks and in whatever way it is, whether it's your face, your vagina, your butthole, whatever. But I hate to be but think about who you are as a person, because it's fuck that. It's scary. I care about what people think about the way I look in some manner.
But I can promise that at 19 years old, if you're fucking other 19-year-olds or 20-year-olds, they are just so happy to be fucking. I honestly that they're probably in a blind stupor and they won't even. Honestly, this might make you feel better. They're not even gonna notice. Yeah, I really don't even think. I feel like they're just gonna be oh fuck.
And you know what? If someone, I think her big fear, it sounds like here, is that she would be hooking up with someone, a guy, and they would stop the intercourse or whatever, the hooking up, because of the aesthetic of her vagina. And I just
that's never happened.
That's happened to
me.
It hasn't happened to me, but my friend in college, she I understand this fear. She hooked up with this guy and he was an asshole. The guy was a known asshole, but for whatever reason, we're attracted to assholes. So she hooked up with him, and then I think she either didn't want to do it again, or maybe there was some sort of I don't know, they weren't going to.
Sorry, he was thirsty. I'm getting him water.
Drinking some water, but. He told other people that she had a weird vagina.
Okay, well, here's the thing.
Makes you
use
look
that as
bad,
a litmus
dude.
test. That guy is a dick.
But
and if someone wants to walk out of sex with you because they don't like the way that your genitals look, then you learned early, and you know that's so going to be I know. I'm sorry.
It sounds like someone is eating pussy.
It does.
But I do understand that. Bless you. I do understand that now that guy who maybe is going and telling everyone that you have a weird vagina, or what happened to your friend. Oh, did your Lumi case? Oh,
my Lumi went off.
Are you sneezing? What is happening to you?
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, he's fine.
I do understand that that guy may be the popular guy who people are going to listen to him because he's having sex and the other dudes aren't. So I do understand why there is a fear around that, and it might be traumatizing to you now in high school, but I promise you the universe and the karma that will come back to those guys who were assholes, they are so far behind in the world with sex, and it might be important and they might be glorified now, but I promise you, like you're saying, you're gonna learn early, and it's hard to be away from that now and see that how much it won't fucking matter and how much these guys don't fucking get it or matter. But it's the truth. They are they're wrong.
Also,
they are.
If you were to sit down at a restaurant, I don't know why, this might be a terrible
I love Kate's metaphors.
If you were to sit down at a restaurant and you and someone else order the same thing, right? You order salad, right?
Sure.
And then you're eating it, you're this is one of my favorite restaurants. I'm so excited. The other person is the salad looks a little weird. I'm not going to eat it. So they look, and you're just, wouldn't it be so much fucking hotter if someone was fuck yeah, whatever. Like, and I'm just gonna eat it and enjoy the taste and enjoy all of like
the experience as a whole rather than judging it based on what it looked like. Yeah.
But, you know,
I love your metaphors, Kate. They're always spot on and right.
I also, food and sex are very similar in my head.
Yeah, it is. And it
what I don't do
together.
In sex, I do in food.
Oh, I get it. So to our listener who wrote in that question, I guess wrapping up, all I can say is, to me, what it sounds like with just this specific instance, it sounds like in my advice would be to just look at it more, love it more, find more porn that has diverse pussies. That's my first step for you.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Just the same advice we're going to give to anybody about any like issues or self-confidence they have with themselves is like just try to like accept and love yourself, because it's so much more attractive when somebody is confident. It like doesn't, you know, like someone can be not the most beautiful person or like have weird genitals, but if you like are meeting yourself with like love and acceptance and confidence, then like other people are going to respond the same way.
Yeah, and also, always to read into it a little bit more, try to figure out what it is. If it's just what your vagina looks like, fine. But is there some other feeling about insecurity here? Is there something else that's making you feel this way that makes you maybe not want to have sex right now? Is there something else? And it's just because I promise it's not that like no one who you want to be fucking is going to be like, no thank you. No.
And I like what you said, Kate, about the timeline. Like there really is no age that like all of a sudden you have to love your pussy, because I love my pussy and some days I still am so insecure about it, and it will ebb and flow.
Go listen or watch the vagina monologues too.
I've never seen that.
Oh, really?
I've been in the vagina monologue.
So many
Me
people
too.
have always talked
I just
about
went to the 20th anniversary, and it was like Jane Fonda, and it was amazing. And Rosario Dawson and all these like incredible women. Wanda Sykes. It was so good. But go watch the vagina monologues or listen to like the podcast of it, because it talks about vaginas from every age and all the issues that women have with them and sort of like why we feel this way. And it's funny, and you'll cry and you'll laugh. It's great.
Yeah.
Whitney, where can people follow you? How can people get more of you? You're such a great person. I can't stress enough how much you guys would all, if you like this podcast, I guarantee you're going to like Whitney's life and her stuff.
Kid, KIDD .bell, Kid Bell on Instagram and Twitter.
All the things.
And shop.kidbell for my store on Instagram. Thank you guys so much.
Thank
for
you
having
for
me.
being here. We're gonna give
you Nugget.
Nuggets on my Instagram a lot. Like
yes, and if you're not visually watching this and you're only listening, you guys should go over to youtube.com/asis to see Nugget. Our shout outs for the week. You want to do yours first because I couldn't get mine together.
Sure. At Lily C Star. At Domino Loves You, and at Fruit.
I want to give a shout out to Melissa from Dave & Buster's. Hey girl, those girls I met in Portland who are making Kate and Kelsey shirts, thank you. I can't wait to see those. At Peonies for Re, at South Namey, and at Ekubinak. Dude, now we yell fucking bye at our listeners.
Okay, great. Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Fucking bye!
Yeah.
Sorry. He is getting scared.